going to Washington State to visit my grandparents. My grandpa's got a cabin out on the tip of Washington State, right on the, where the Pacific Ocean comes in. It's called the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and so it's right there. You need to go fishing, and there's a beach, and just a lot of wooded area, and so it's just a good time just to be able to relax and reflect, and have a lot of fun, and just be outside and outdoors and doing some fishing. And
by yourself?
No, we're just like the whole family, so everybody comes in from Washington, brothers, sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, grandma and grandpa, all in one little cabin, just, cooking, getting in each other's ways, and having a lot of fun. I don't know what state we're in. Might have been Georgia, might have been California, but it was a pretty small service. We met in like the upstairs room of this building, maybe 30 or 50 of us, and they had the part where we were supposed to sing, and I was, kindergarten or first grade, and I had no concept of being in tune or not screaming loud enough, so I was just belting those hymns at the top of my voice. I remember people looking back at me, and I just kind of waved to them, and another person looked back at me and waved. I was just having a lot of fun. I didn't realize I was being a little bit too loud for the situation. I'm going to go with my best friend from high school, Chris Luce. We'd known each other for a long time, football, Boy Scouts, but we didn't really start talking spirituality until high school, late high school, early college, and we had the opportunity to go on this cross-country road trip, and I was still coming to faith, and he was already a Christian at that time, and we were just able to just ask all these questions, have all these just awesome discussions at different places, Grand Canyon, just driving down Texas, and even in the lines at Cedar Park up in Ohio. You'd be in the line for the roller coaster, like an hour and a half, 2 hours, we're just talking back and forth, and the cool thing was, we're having this conversation, and you could hear the conversation spread throughout the line, because it kind of does the zigzag thing, so you could hear people on either side start talking about Jesus and all these different topics, and it was just awesome to not only explore myself, but hear how it helped other people explore their faith. My personal image of God has changed over the years, because when I first started out, I didn't really know what I believed, so it's like, is he a mean guy? Is he a good guy? What is he? I think right now, he's just a loving guy. My nickname for him is the Big Amigo. I said, just imagine, he's just sitting back, he's just enjoying everything, kind of laughing at us, loving on us, and I think he's just kind of waiting for the big group hug at the end, and just to let the rest of eternity, start in that joy. I think that's a tough question for people who aren't Christians or atheists or agnostic, mainly because when I first started being, a computer science major, there's a lot of, evidence and theory and mathematics behind the world that if you can't prove God, then He can't exist. But I think there's a lot of evidence for His existence, and you kind of have to take into account all the different things that are available to you to really get a clear picture as to whether or not He exists. And I think the more you seek Him, the more you can find Him. But if you're looking for tangible, I have to be able to touch God to know He exists, I don't think you can ever find Him. You have to have that leap of faith, kind of like Indiana Jones at the very end, who's got to take the leap from the lion's head, to go get the Holy Grail. He's got to take that leap knowing he could fall into the canyon, but he does, and he's okay, and he keeps going. Hebrews 11 sticks out at me just because it's all about faith. It's not about having to have all the answers. Someone to ask the question of how do you know God exists? It's faith is what it's all about, and you have to have faith. And it just kind of goes through like all these people, Daniel and Solomon and Moses, and it just goes on and on about the people. It's by faith that they did these things, not by anything else. And that just kind of resonates with me, that you have to have that faith in God to really do things. I don't really know. I guess I wasn't too into art as a kid. Actually, when I was really tiny, I didn't like to finger paint. I didn't like to get my hands dirty, and so I refused to do any sort of finger painting. But now it's fun just to do whatever. I can't really draw. I wish I could. But I mean, I like going to plays, like, being in New York. You get to see a ton of plays on Broadway and just get such a variety of styles and musicals, and so just kind of seeing that interactive, being able to see people sing and dance and tell a story all at the same time it's a very moving thing to be a part of. Oh, absolutely. I still do. I still pray for everything that I try and do. Because I think if God isn't with us in what we're doing, and it's not edifying or glorifying His kingdom, I don't think it will succeed, whether it's a test or a business venture. And all those things really aren't important, whether or not you do well on a test, whether your business succeeds or you're successful in your job. It doesn't matter if it's not glorifying to God. But at the same time, I still pray on small things as well. Like, for example, I'm a big Raiders fan. I'll pray for the Raiders to win. Once in a while, I'll even bring like wear the Raiders jersey to church on Sunday. Maybe get a little like the Jesus sprinkle on the jersey to help the team win. It never works. I mean, we have an awful last 8 years. So maybe I should stop praying for the Raiders and they'll start doing good. But absolutely,
pray for Al Davis.
Yeah.